Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video, and today we'll be looking at the features of ARK-4 through Adrenaline on our PS Vitas. And I just got this installed and I'm pretty stoked on having this new custom firmware through Adrenaline. And if you haven't already installed it, I do have a full guide on how to do that in the comment section down below, so make sure to check that out. And let's see what we got for our features. Pressing the select button will bring up a new VSH menu. ARK 4.20.59, which was just released on June 27th of 2023. And there was heavily improved and refactored of the VSH menu, a text editor that will now ask you to save when closing a modified file. You can now copy game information to use on text editor, and several other fixes and improvements. And a lot of people are very happy with this custom firmware, so very glad that I'm finally jumping aboard on this. And let's see the advanced VSH menu. Wow, this looks really good. And I like the fact that there's so many different options. The more settings, the more options that we have to do customization or access files and things like that. I'm such a huge fan about it. So here we go. We have the USB device, Adrenaline USB, USB read only, ISO drivers, Inferno 2, and we can change this to Sony NP9660, PBP. Let's see, ISO video mount, this is unsupported. And we can change the colors of the font. You can see there. And I like to leave it to a aqua color. And the background color, oh, it's pretty hard on the eyes. The white, light white. There's a bunch of colors that you can choose from to fit your style or the theme that you got going on. I like the black just because it's easier to look at. And it reminds me of like some kind of PC console or command, right? It looks kind of cool. We can convert our battery into a Pandora's battery if we, need it to unbrick our PSP or whatever. But this feature is available. Most of these features are available for the PSP, and it's used for the PSP, obviously. But again, this is not supported for the PS Vita, right? So, but again, on the PS Vita, it's not supported, obviously. And we can swap our buttons from X or O and X. VSH region, we got debug 2, default, Japan, America, Europe, Korea, United Kingdom, Latin America, Australia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Russia, China. Debug 1 and 2. A UMD region we have unsupported, obviously because we can't run UMDs on our PS Vita. And we can import classic plugins, activate Flash and WMA, no hibernation support, boot random ISO, and go back. Alright, let's exit out of here and check out the custom firmware settings along with the plugins manager. And I'll also talk about how to enable these plugins in another video because I just want to keep it straight to the point. So let's now check out the custom firmware settings and see what we got going on here. We have auto boot launcher disabled, force extra memory always, memory stick speed up always, Inferno cache always, skip Sony logos, hide pick 0 and pick 1, and hide MAC address. And I like the fact that there's a plugins manager. This is very cool, and I'll talk about this in another video on how to install your old plugins into the new ARK-4 custom firmware, which makes it so simple and so easy. It's ridiculous how well they managed to build this custom firmware for the console. But yeah, the plugins manager, here you can disable, you can turn on and off the different plugins that you have installed, and it's very easy to install the old plugins into the new ARK-4 custom firmware. But yeah, that is pretty awesome. And you can see that I do have a custom theme running right now. And I think the best part about this whole custom firmware is by far the custom launcher. I'm a big fan of this, so let's dive into it here. So here is the customs launcher, and I do have my categories light enabled, and I'll have to mess around with that, and I'll talk about that in another video, but I just want to strictly talk about the settings here. Now at the bottom of the screen you'll see a number 60, and that's the frames that I enabled through the settings, and it just looks really good. Pressing the triangle will bring up this option of games, files, the network, settings, and exit. Let's go into files, and we can actually go into our folders, and we don't need like a separate plugin for this, because in the past you had to install a plugin to access these files and move them around and delete stuff, but now this is integrated into that custom firmware, which is awesome, and I think it should have been like this from the beginning, from the get-go. That is very cool. Let's go into settings, and we can skip our game boot. We can change our languages. There's quite a few here. Let me go back to English before I lose all this. Font style, scan save data entries, scan category entries, scan DLC files, swap X and O buttons, menu animation. Let's go to waves. Wow, look at that. Can we do sprites? What sprites? Okay, so that's the UMD sprites. We could do fire. Don't like fire. Tetris. Wow. Check that out. Let's go back to our games real quick. And the game Tetris is playing in our background. See, this is what I love about all this homebrew and hacking and stuff. This is what makes it so much fun, that you can add things like this to the PSP and PS Vita, and just a lot of fun stuff. So let's go back and check out some other ones. We have the Matrix. What? No way. Wow, that is awesome. Check that out, guys. The Matrix. Who doesn't like the Matrix? Oh, here we go. Hacker. What's Hacker? Oh, I'm a big fan of this one. Look at that. All the code and stuff. Syscall 6. Look at that. Alright, let's check out some more. We have BSOD. Okay, so this is like a... not sure what BSOD means, but nonetheless looks good. Snow. Ooh, snow. Snow is a lot of fun. Get ready for the holidays, right? Game of life. No way. There's... wait, this is crazy how many menu animations there are. And you can have none, obviously. But let's go and check out waves. And there's like some kind of bubbles going on from the bottom. Let's see here. We have default menu, games, files, games, files. Let's check out and see what files are. No? Did I enable that correctly? Default menu, files, or games? Sort entries by name. Show recovery menu, enabled. Show FPS, enabled. Text glow, that's disabled. So you can see how when I make a selection, we don't see that glow. But if I press X on enabled, we will now see that glowing on the selection that we have. So very nice. We have our battery percentage, display battery percentage. Let's enable. System menu size, default, small, medium, large. We'll just leave it at default. That is very, very cool. One last feature I wanted to cover before we finish this video is going into the VSH menu and checking out the new and improved recovery menu, but there is a major bug which I'll talk about in another video. But accessing the recovery menu for me has caused a huge issue where anytime I exit out of the recovery menu, I'm not able to use adrenaline. It's stuck on a black screen, and when I try to restart adrenaline, I just get blanks. I can't even access my other bubbles on my live area, so I have to restart the system. But even doing that, I get stuck on the dial, and I'll have to access recovery mode to restart the system, and it's just a big problem with recovery menu. So I wanted to document what was going on, which you guys will see in another video later on this week or next week, but coming out soon, so you guys can see and how that all went down. So you'll see that coming up very soon. So here is the new and improved recovery menu. It looks great. I love it. Auto boot launcher, force extra memory. This all is available in the XMB through the regular custom firmware settings. So it's all there. You don't really need to access the recovery menu. So it's nice to have, but I will not be using this at all now that I have those issues with it's just not it's not working out for me. So let's see here, custom firmware settings. So that's where we're at here. We can go into plugins and we can enable or disable, but again, this is available for us on the XMB, so there's no need for you to access the recovery menu unless you really want to, but it's there. I love that the option is there, so doesn't hurt to have it, my opinion. But you can access your files also through here. Have your menu settings and change some stuff around. But here is the issue that I have. So anytime I exit recovery menu, I'm just kind of stuck on this blank screen. So a couple of features I wanted to talk about here before we end this video. And the features are a core system heavily updated from the traditional custom firmware with new exclusive features. An Inferno 2 driver compatible with all formats of ISO, CSO, ZSO, JSO, CSO V2, and DAX. A popcorn controller for custom PS1 games compatible with Pops Loader version 3 and version 4i. A built-in no DRM engine Stargate. Fixes many anti-custom firmware games compatible with npdrm_free. And plugin support for PSP games, PS1 games, and VSH, including the ability to enable and disable plugins per game, which we saw there in the plugins manager. We have a region-free playback of UMD video on all PSP models. Change the region of your UMD drive on the fly. Very cool. I know I had some issues with some UMD videos, even on a hacked PSP. They just were not able to be read for some odd reason, so this is nice. Compatible with all PSP models on firmware 6.60 and 6.61. Compatible with all PS Vita models on firmware 2.10 up to 3.74, either official firmware or via Adrenaline. Compatible with 6.60 testing tool firmware and test kit units. Compatible with 6.60 development tool firmware and dev kit units, and can be fully installed and booted on memory stick in compatible models via Time Machine. And it can be used to unbrick any PSP using Despertar del Cementario in combination with a Pandora or Baron sweeper. A minimalistic, only 6 files installed on PSP Flash. Custom firmware extensions are installed on the memory stick. and it's resistant to soft bricks. It's easy to recover from bad configurations with a new and improved recovery app. And a custom game launcher with built-in game categories, file browser, FTP server, and client, modernized look, and more. Fully configurable via the XMB, compatible with the Pro Online and X-Link Kai. Let's see here. Compatible with the Legacy Homebrew via eLoader and Leda. Compatible with the KExploit formats. And finally, compatible with the CIPL and Infinity 2 bootloaders for permanent custom firmware. So there you have it. That is a lot of features with this custom firmware. I'll be covering a lot of different things on ARK-4 here for the PS Vita and PSP. So there's a ton of content that I'll be creating. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of those videos. I'll be talking about how to install plugins and also how to install custom themes for ARK-4 so you can have a different look of the custom launcher. So we're going to take a look at the default theme, which is the ARK Revamped is what they call this. And there's a bunch of themes that you can have instead of the Blue Mountains. There's a ton of them, and I'll be talking about that in a different video. So thanks again, guys, for watching. I really do appreciate it. That is it for this one. And if you have any questions, please comment down below. And again, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more awesome content here on the channel. Take care, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.